Some stories break your heart before they ever put it back together. And this one begins on a cold, windy night in the middle of a grocery store parking lot, where a young mother sat alone in the driver's seat of an aging, beat-up sedan, watching her baby sleep in the back. Her hands were trembling, not from the cold, but from the fear of what tomorrow might bring. Her name was Emily Carter, and this was the night life pushed her further than she ever believed she could bend. She used to think, hitting rock bottom, was just a figure of speech, until now. Inside the car, the air was stiff and heavy. The battery had died 2 days ago, so there was no heater, no light, no comfort. The last of her money, $8 and some loose change, sat inside a torn envelope in the glove compartment. She wrapped her 6-month-old daughter, Lily, in every blanket she owned and whispered, "Mommy's here. Everything's gonna be okay." But for the first time in her life, Emily didn't believe her own words. After escaping an abusive relationship months earlier, she'd bounced between shelters, cheap motels, and friends' couches. Everything eventually ran out: money, time, patience. Without childcare, a stable address, or a working car, job after job slipped through her fingers. She had tried so hard, but the world seemed determined to push her down. Now here she was, in a cold parking lot, with her entire world sleeping in the back seat. Around midnight, a security truck made its usual rounds. Emily held her breath, afraid they would force her to leave. But the truck kept going. Relief washed over her, until another car slowly pulled in shortly afterward. This one wasn't old or rusted. It was sleek, black, polished. It parked just 2 spaces away. Emily stiffened, watching the driver, a man in his mid-40s, clean coat, neat posture, sit for a moment before stepping out. He wasn't going into the store. He wasn't making a call. He was walking straight toward her car. Her heart pounded. She locked the doors. The man gently tapped on her window. "Miss, are you okay?" His voice wasn't harsh or suspicious. It was soft, cautious, concerned. But he was still a stranger. "I'm fine," she said quickly. He nodded, but his eyes softened as he looked through the fogged-up glass, noticing the blankets in the backseat, and the tiny baby hand poking out. He spoke even more quietly. "I'm sorry to bother you. My name's Daniel. I own the building across the street. I noticed your car has been here since early morning." Emily swallowed hard. "I'm just resting. In a parking lot?" he asked gently. She didn't answer. He hesitated for a moment before offering, "If you don't mind, may I bring you something warm to eat?" "Nothing else. No pressure." Emily's pride held her tongue for a moment, but her hunger, and her baby's needs, won. "Okay," she whispered. Daniel nodded kindly and walked into the store. When he returned 15 minutes later, he wasn't holding just food. He carried 2 hot meals, diapers, baby formula, and a small car heater that plugged into a lighter socket. Emily stared. "This is too much, I can't pay for this." "It's a gift," he said simply. "That's all." Her strength broke. She covered her face and sobbed, silent, shaking sobs that carried years of fear, exhaustion, and loneliness. Daniel stepped back respectfully, giving her space but staying close enough that she didn't feel abandoned. When she finally caught her breath, he asked softly, "Do you have somewhere safe to stay tonight?" She shook her head, humiliated. "Would you let me arrange a hotel for you and your daughter? Just for tonight. I don't want to see a baby sleep in the cold." All her instincts told her to refuse. But then she looked at Lily. Her daughter deserved warmth more than she deserved. Pride. "Yes," she whispered. Daniel led the way while Emily followed in her sputtering car. The hotel wasn't fancy, but it was warm and safe. At the front desk, she was too overwhelmed to speak. "This means so much," she managed, voice cracking. "Get some rest," Daniel said. "Come to the cafe tomorrow morning. I'd like to talk to you about something." When Emily lay in the soft hotel bed later, watching Lily sleep peacefully for the first time in days, tears slipped silently down her cheeks. Not from fear, but from relief. For the first time in a long time, she felt hope. The next morning, she met Daniel downstairs. He had 2 coffees and a folder waiting. He spoke carefully, gently. "I don't want to pry, but I think I might be able to help you. I run a software and customer support firm. We train people on the job. I'm short-staffed, and you strike me as someone who doesn't give up." Emily stared at him. "But I've never done anything like that." He pushed the folder toward her. Inside was a job application, and a childcare voucher his company sponsored. "You've survived things much harder than anything this job requires," he said. "I believe in potential, not resumes." Her eyes filled again. "And the childcare," she whispered. "Covered," he said. "Completely." She was shaking now, not from fear, but disbelief. "Why are you doing this?" Daniel drew a long breath. "Because 20 years ago, I was sleeping in my car. And someone helped me. I promised I'd spend the rest of my life returning that kindness." Emily's heart dropped. She had no words. Within weeks, she started training at his company. She learned quickly, faster than she ever expected, and her coworkers admired her determination. Lily flourished in childcare, finally warm, fed, and safe. Within 6 months, Emily became one of the top support specialists. Within a year, she was promoted. Within 2 years, she was helping Daniel build a program for homeless single parents, offering training and stable jobs. Emily became the face of the initiative, the living proof that one act of compassion can change an entire life. One afternoon, after a long meeting, she stood outside the company building, staring up at the place that saved her. Daniel walked out and joined her. "You've come a long way," he said. "You gave me a chance," she replied. He shook his head. "You took the chance. I just opened the door." Emily felt her throat tighten. "You saved us, Daniel." "No," he said softly. "You saved yourself. I'm just grateful I got to witness it." They stood there in quiet warmth, two people whose lives had crossed at the exact moment one needed help and the other needed to give it. Emily knew she would spend the rest of her life paying that kindness forward, because kindness, real kindness, doesn't end with one person. It spreads. It multiplies. It changes everything. Moral: one small act of kindness can rewrite someone's entire future.